So my father used what was called a mattock handle. It was a large piece of wood, about 4.5 feet long, and it had about a 13, 14-inch circumference. And he would swing that like a baseball bat when he was beating one of the kids. And he did it such that he would hit us 5 or 10 times, and then he would scream at us, about what we'd done wrong and how we were going to go to hell for it and how God hated sinners. And in the Old Testament times, I would have been taken out of the city gates and stoned because I was disobedient. This was the kind of rhetoric that we heard, and then he would go back to the physical beating and he would work himself up into this frenzy. And it would be bad enough that you literally couldn't sit down or lie down on your backside for 2 or 3 days. And he was so different from what I thought just a normal human should be, let alone someone who was the pastor of this church that was supposed to be the only place on earth where good existed. And it was the Westboro Baptist Church in Topeka, Kansas. I bought a car, hid it from everybody, and slowly packed my belongings, and waited till literally the night of my 18th birthday. And when everybody had gone to sleep, I backed the car into the driveway and packed it, and went back into the house and stood and watched the clock turn up to midnight, and then turned around and walked out the door. And I thought I had left all that behind until a few years later when I got married and found out that you can't leave something like that behind. So when I see my family's trademark sign, "God hates fags," the message I see is, I do harm to those that I prejudge. When I started talking about it, I started hearing from people that were in the similar situations growing up in extreme religious environments. But I'm also hearing from a lot of people in the gay community. And it occurred to me somewhere in that process that I could relate to them. And I found myself with a voice. Hate separates us, threatens us, hardens our heart toward a false truth, and stifles our will to understand. "I don't understand" is a blatant admission of ignorance. When those words are uttered, they should end with a period, a closed mouth, and an open mind. Thank you all very much. It's impossible unless you have experienced to understand just how painful it is to wake up every day in your life and to realize that the world perceives you as evil and that you have absolutely no power over that. You didn't choose it. You didn't ask for it. You don't want it. Most of them don't want it, but there it is. And they're constantly reminded that there's something wrong with them because of that. We need to explain to human beings that the decisions that they make, the words that they say, the ideas that they tolerate in society are literally costing human lives. I'm Nate Phelps, and I'm not my father's son.